Any opinion on the Gamers Nexus Nvidia drama? I don't know about that. Is that literally this video that we're about to pop up with Jayztwocents? This is some kind of Nvidia drama. I don't know if this has anything to do with Gamers Nexus. But this video is like 2 weeks old at this point. Let's get into it. It's a quick video. Let me know. If not, I'll check that out too.
All right, well, let's talk about 5060 launch coming up.
Let me grab my burrito.
Unprecedented.
I'm listening.
Unprecedented.
Oh, because there's no press on it?
Unprecedented, because Nvidia is apparently not including media in any of the launch for the 5060.
Are they trying to hide it? Okay, we can check that one out immediately after this one.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what that means to you as a consumer. The Be Quiet light-based PC case features a flippable design for either an upright or lay-flat orientation, cable trays and covers, and supports newer backside connector motherboards for a super clean build. Sleek and minimalistic design with integrated RGB lighting offers tasteful design cues, and radiators up to 420mm are supported in the light-based 900 model. To see the full list of specs of the Be Quiet light-based 600 and 900, follow
Would the motherboard go on here? Because that looks like the slots for the graphics card. But why is it like that? I feel like we need to start making it a thing where we have all of our graphics cards vertical rather than horizontal. The horizontal graphics cards is so stupid. The heavier they get, the more they freaking bend and like slag. No wait, what's slag? What does slag mean?
the link in the description below.
Sag! That's the word I'm looking for! Sag! The more they sag, not slag. The frick does slag mean?
5060 Ti Prime on here only because unfortunately during the launch we did get the PNY card, but the other AIB card which we were offered, which is obviously the Asus Prime, came way after launch, so we haven't had enough.
I'm gonna be real with you. After however many years of like computers and all that stuff, at this point I'm convinced that it's always just gonna be the best thing ever to buy the whatever 60 Ti version. It's just always gonna be better to buy the lowest end with like the Ti version. Like it's gonna be less money. Whoops.
An opportunity to really use this yet. But it will be the card we have on hand for like future benchmarks and stuff because we gave away the PNY card at the SoCal Tech Fair. And then a little teaser of an upcoming video. This is actually our 5090 Astro card right here that Der Bauer sent me the only prototype, like full retail-ish. But I say retail-ish because they're still making a few revisions to that. But anyway, this is going to be
Is that a heat sink? Look how much freaking metal there is on that damn thing.
a lot of fun right here. And
is that water
like
freaking?
To support the RIP GN series. So anyway, let me get this out of the way.
The hell?
Moving on, I want to talk about this. You guys may have seen on social media from like Hardware Unboxed and Igor's Lab, and most of the most notorious written publications have said, hey, Nvidia is not providing a press driver for, and I don't know why I'm holding the 4060 Ti, but whatever. Nvidia is not supplying a press driver until May 19th. So Nvidia has basically said that they are not providing, and I'm not even sure if they're providing cards, to be honest. We've had absolutely no communication with them ever since our last, and we've been harsh on them, in my opinion too, absolutely justified. So we'll talk about all these.
That's probably why they're not doing this. They probably realize that if they wanted to keep skimping, realistically, they just can't have a healthy relationship with content creators that will call them out on their bad practices.
Moving pieces on this particular review moving forward though, but this is the first time ever that we are not going to be having access to a driver until the day the card is on shelves. So let's explain what that means. That means you are not going to be able to have any information beforehand to know whether or not it's even worth your time on launch day.
And you know why? It's because of the scalpers. Not because of the scalpers, right? Sorry, I say scalpers as a general umbrella. Because of the scalpers, and the rush of people that wait outside the Micro Center and the Best Buys the day one to buy a graphics card because they know they sell out quick. And once they sell out, there's gonna be a freaking, like, a hell of a delay on getting more in stock. It's gonna take so... It happens every single generation. Every single one. So, of course, you're left with one of two options. Either wait until the day of release, then watch the video, determine whether it's worth it, and then potentially miss out on being able to acquire one because they all sold out. Or just go and buy one day one anyways. You get me? The only thing you could possibly hope for there would be going there day one, sitting in line, and then hopefully Jayztwocents puts out a video the same day. If they even get their hands on the card that same day too, right? Who knows with shipping and all that, what are the odds? It's a scummy tactic, and if anything, as far as I'm concerned, it makes me feel like they're very insecure about their product. It feels very, very insecure about their product. I don't care what they say. There's really no reason why literally every single time they've been able to do this, and this one time, this one release, they can't do it. It's impossible. They can't get these people their copies, so it's kind of like, okay, no, it speaks. Their actions speak way louder than any words could ever speak.
Okay, now spoiler alert, it's probably not worth your time. Because if the 5060
I'm
Ti
gonna flip my burrito and put it in
which
for another
those that
10
got their
minutes.
hands on those cards and went and bought them and tested them found that it was even struggling in 1440p, it is no surprise that the 5060 non-Ti, which is also an 8GB card as far as I understand, is absolutely positively not going to be a positive thing for Nvidia. Now, we'd like to think that this is because they're just taking extra time to sort of iron out all the driver issues that have been happening.
Nah, thing is, I got really lucky that the cards that I have are like RTX. Shout out to Chaos for helping me get my hands on those, by the way. If it wasn't for him, I would still have a crappy 1080 Ti. Not even a Ti, I don't even think it was a Ti. Was it a Ti? Maybe. But, like Doom, the Dark Ages, that we played yesterday, it's mandatory to have the latest drivers with RTX, apparently, according to Master Sam. Somebody please correct me if that's the case, if that's not the case. But apparently you need an RTX capable graphics card to actually play it. And it's like, see, that's concerning right there. And it's not just on the graphics card side, right? It's also on the game developer side. These developers are not optimizing their games whatsoever, and can we stop? We don't need these graphics to go like so freaking obscenely just optimize the game, damn it. Chill. I don't want to have to keep buying better and better graphics cards to play your freaking game anymore.
Since the 50 series launch,
when are we just gonna level out?
A complete shit show when it comes to drivers.
There's gotta be a freaking plateau at some point
about AI written drivers. I don't know if that's true. I really don't know if that's true or not. Unfortunately, because Nvidia is one of those companies that adopts the say nothing and pretend it never happened mentality, everyone's just left guessing, which leaves everything open to interpretation because of the non-transparent nature of Nvidia. So
I want to let him finish that point. Yes, absolutely. It's the worst possible move, honestly, because welcome to the internet, welcome to PC culture. If I have to assume something, and you can ask this to any IT specialist, Chaos, you know, if I have to assume something, I'm gonna assume the worst. Oh hell no! In the technology field, if I have to assume something, I'm gonna assume the worst.
Who knows why they are postponing press driver until the 19th, which, to be honest, it's not a press driver. That is the release driver, because that is the on-shelf date for the graphics cards.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about...
At the end of the day, whenever they have a really good product, they are the first people to go out there and showcase it. Let's be honest. Now, this could come out and be like, blow everything out of the water. Maybe it's a power play by GeForce. Maybe. But I feel like since lately the difference between a lot of the models has been steadily decreasing and decreasing from like the 56 I'd say like the 4060 to the 4070 to the 4080. The difference between the cards is becoming so small. I feel like eventually it's gonna get smaller and smaller. They're just not gonna really, like, they're gonna know it's a bad look if they actually like have these numbers come out. Maybe I'll be wrong, right? But I don't know.
There's some possible motivations behind
I don't know.
One, they could just be salty. Nvidia could 100% just be salty. We've seen this before. Unfortunately, we've seen this with a different marketing team at Nvidia, where they get their underwear all bunched up at the negative press that rightfully so 50 series is getting. And then they say, well, then fine, we're not going to support you. And they've done that in the past. They've done that with, I can't remember which, it was a 30 series card. I believe it was 3070 or 3070 Ti. I can't remember which, but they just were like, we're not giving samples and we're just not supporting media for the launch. Now, what that means is Nvidia is not supporting you getting information ahead of time to try and become an informed buyer. Nvidia doesn't want informed buyers, they just want buyers. They just want people spending money on their stuff, and because it's been so negative along the way, it's easy to assume that Nvidia is just trying to head off the negativity that 5060 non-Ti is going to be, to just basically say, we're not going to support this launch for media.
I'm curious
now,
to
the
see.
timing is also extremely sus for another reason. That is, May 19th is also the day that most media outlets are going to be on a very long international flight to Taiwan because of Computex. So many of the media, including Hardware Unboxed, has stated they will not have a day one. In this case, it would be day one, not day zero. Usually reviews go live a day before they're on shelves, if they're MSRP models, so that buyers can be informed and decide, hey, I want this card, and go and get it. Usually it's because Nvidia has something really exciting to show and it performs really well compared to the competition, which unfortunately it's not comparing very well to the competition, especially when compared to previous gen AMD stuff. I digress, moving on. Like Hardware Unboxed has stated, they won't have a day one review because they're gonna be on a plane to Computex. It's just seeming like the whole timing of the launch, as well as the we're not gonna support you with press drivers ahead of time, is all by design to limit the amount of negative comments and publicity that are gonna be making their way out there on day one. Now, I can tell you that is pretty anti-consumer, but I think the name Nvidia and anti-consumerism go hand in hand these days. I don't think there's been any lack of hiding that. I think Nvidia has been very straightforward with it. In fact, the SoCal Tech Fair, you notice Intel was there and AMD was there. Nvidia was invited and they were like, hey, thanks but no thanks. So that tells us Nvidia has decided to remove themselves from being anything pro-consumer at all. And you know what? They can do that.
I'm kind of wondering what the... How is the 50 series selling right now? Overall, does anybody know? Is it just like doing Blockbuster right now?
It's
Like, is it just
free market, and a company can decide to do that. It is not the first time they've done it. And then what they usually end up doing is going on like a reclamation tour, trying to fix that image later, or like with the team that we have now, which is a whole new marketing team within Nvidia, because the previous marketing team gave such a black eye. Now we're just seeing that it's cyclical, where it doesn't really matter what marketing team is in there. Those powers that be are the ones controlling this. And now here we are again with the, well, I'm not friends with you anymore.
Okay, fair is fair. I mean, let me finish this point.
So you can't play with my toys type of mentality. Now, we as a media outlet, and most media outlets I've ever talked to, we are not crapping all over Nvidia just because it gets views. That's what people like to think. This is all...
I feel like this also has to do with it. He's right. Of course not. It seems like, you know, they at least Jayztwocents tends to be fair. If the AI is, like, overview is correct here, and the 50 series is welling, like, exceptionally well, it may just be one of those situations where, since the 40 series was doing kind of alright, a lot of creators were talking alright about it, honestly. I'd argue that maybe at this point they're sort of at that like point in time where they're kind of like, you guys are talking smack, but it's selling well, so we're gonna just keep doing what we do.
Well justified. If you actually created a list, in fact, Phil, maybe do me a favor on the side, just put a text for every single problem we know has happened just since the 5090 has launched, and you will see that our critique, our criticism.
So the 5070 has the same performance as the 4090. Damn.
And our cynicism is actually very justified and warranted. And this is just another cherry on top of that. I know this can come off as like,
but yeah, you might as well just buy a 4090 at that point.
Well, they're not getting a card and they're not getting a driver, so they're just salty about it. No, it's because we cannot provide you the service that we are trying to provide and all of the outlets are known to provide. Now, fortunately, a lot of the add-in board partners are supporting this launch by getting cards to folks. In fact, some media outlets already have cards on their benches that are complete paperweights until the day the card is on shelves, because without a driver, it is absolutely useless. So this is just a scenario where this is the wrong move on all accounts. Now, let's play devil's advocate.
Again, they're at a high. They're at a high. They probably feel like people are not listening to the content creators because, you know, they're selling well. I gotta say though, typically the way that these things work, if the 50 series sells well, but the performances were garbage, I feel like a lot of people are gonna feel like ripped off. And typically, it's the 60 series or the next generation that suffers the most. If the 40 series came out pretty decently, then typically the 50 series will sell. I feel like, I don't know how much of it would be scalpers too.
Yeah.
Or if that's even a thing still. Because it seems like there's still plenty in stock everywhere, though they are pretty freaking pricey.
Let's say it's none of that. Let's say this is truly them needing all of this time to iron out whatever the hell is going on with Nvidia drivers. Because what we've experienced is a complete 180 of the norm. The norm is AMD has crap drivers. AMD has to have tons of driver revisions because of all of the day one problems that rise with AMD drivers. But that's not been the case. Now granted, AMD's only had to support 9070 XT and 9070 so far at launch, but still, even then, in the past when they would launch 1 or 2 cards at a time, we would see all kinds of weirdness. I've always referred to the AMD weirdness that happens, whether it be a CPU or a GPU. That has been absent for the last several revisions of products, whether it be 9000 series X3D CPUs or any of their 9000 series GPUs. They have been rock.
I do gotta be fair. I have a Threadripper on both of my PCs. More than likely, yeah, my next major like graphics card is probably gonna be an AMD.
Solid. In fact, I can tell you this: when we were at the SoCal Tech Fair, any of the like Nvidia cards we were giving away, because I did give away an Nvidia card, and you know, it was just a 5060 Ti, but still, it was like, who's excited? Woo! The 9070 XFX.
Whoa.
Who's excited? Whoa! Everyone started screaming. So it is fascinating to see this pendulum shift of where the gamer is interested in actually, you know, putting their interest and their money and their efforts. And we've seen what AMD has done to Intel on the CPU side. In fact, I've talked to several SIs, and on average, SIs are...
Again, I literally switched all my CPUs to AMD. I have Threadrippers on both of my rigs.
Selling 4 AMD systems for every 1 Intel. So it's going to be very naive of Nvidia to think that there's a point to where you are immune from fucking over the consumer enough to where it won't affect you. Now, it may not affect your body.
The thing is what people have to realize is, again, this is never going to be a situation where it's going to affect them right now. It's never going to affect them right now. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. They're never going to feel the consequences of this until the next generation and the generation after that. And that's because because the next generation that comes out, a little bit more people just decide to go for the AMD instead. Next generation after that, few more people go after the AMD. Another generation. And why? It's so much simpler now. Why? Because my CPU, because Intel dropped the ball so damn hard that AMD took over the gaming sphere. Now, if I want a graphics card, you know what? Well, I want to, I want to get a monitor too that's gonna have FreeSync, or G-Sync, I should say, right? So, yeah, no, FreeSync. So it's kind of like, well, I might as well get the graphics card. I have the CPU already, and then I can have the graphics card, and then I can have the monitor. You kind of want the whole set. Get those high-end, So it like, realistically, it'll happen slowly but surely. If they don't freaking, like, if they don't get their act together, basically, sooner or later, it's gonna affect them.
Bottom line, because we all know you have moved on to AI. I also love seeing the AI pushback and people that are just sick of hearing about AI, but unfortunately, those people pushing back are not your customer. The AI farms are your customers, and at this point, we know that you've already said, hey, GeForce fans, thanks for helping build the house that is AI, right?
Hey, Nvidia, I'm a big fan of your Nvidia broadcast. Like, keep it up though. Like, legit, it's cool.
Or AI is the house that GeForce built. So that's like a big thank you, and then you shut and lock the door. And this type of anti-consumer behavior of not supporting this information and these benchmarks prior to launch to inform your customer shows that you're just looking for the suckers. You're just looking for the suckers that are going there, see a green box, see that it's in stock and buy it. I'm just pleased to see that every time we go to Micro Center, though, there's still plenty of Nvidia cards just sitting on the shelves, especially the 70 series and down, because people understand what just...
And again, what you have to understand too, I always think about scalpers. If there's a ton of scalpers, it's because they know these units move. If there's like no scalpers, it's because they know these units will never sell.
What a terrible, terrible value it is. But I started playing devil's advocate, and I got off rails, and I'm going to digress again. I would like to think that this is because you're trying to straighten out those drivers, but I don't think it's that. I really don't think it's that. Because that would either mean, one, the drivers are so bad that you have no choice but to support the card with day one driver, and even then it may still be broken. But I really think that it's the former, which is you just are salty at the negativity you guys are getting. And
I don't think it's just. I feel like it's like in the most likely of situations, it's a little of all three options. The drivers probably still need work. I can attest to that because Nvidia broadcast has been up and down and up and down. It's been having freaking stress issues. This whole patch with the latest patch that came out for RTX specifically. Like, I haven't heard much about it. I don't want to talk smack about it, but I'm just saying it's pretty convenient that the latest patch just recently came out, and now they don't want to show nobody nothing. And it's a major, major patch that came out for RTX. On top of that, again, if they already know that most content creators have called them out on the performance of the 50 series, comparing it to the 4070 series, the 4070 specifically, then at that point, of course, as far as they're concerned, they're like, why would I, like, let's just, like, not say anything and hope that the suckers buy it anyways. It just makes more sense. It's what I would do if I want to make money.
Be salty, but actually listen. It is not...
Oh yeah, and they're probably salty too, frankly.
Because everyone wants to just crap on Nvidia. It's because Nvidia deserves the crap. Nvidia has earned this spot, and it sounds like you guys are doubling down on it. So with that said, it's time to get out of here, but I want you guys to know that we are going to be doing whatever we need to do to try and support you guys as early as possible. Even if we have to run down to Micro Center on day of and buy one, I'm sure there will be some for sale. I'm sure I will not have to worry about there being a line of people wanting to buy 50, 60, 8GB cards to the point where we cannot get one.
8GB?
Fortunately, because we're not going to Computex, we won't have to delay that. But it does take us a couple of days to actually get through a full GPU test of one card to make sure all of the, especially when it's a new card, to make sure everything's running properly with all the new logic and methodology that we've adopted here. So stay tuned for that. Like, I didn't really want to review the 5060, to be honest.
I'm gonna be real with you. I want a 4090 now. If anything. If it's the same exact freaking, like, if you're going to buy an Nvidia card anyways, a 4090 would have the same freaking performance as the 5070. At that point, just buy the 4090. It's on sale.
To be honest, I'm not even the least bit bothered by the fact that we're not
No, honestly, I think at that point, I'd just look into an AMD, right? Because I could probably get it for cheaper.
being supported by Nvidia for it. Because to be honest, I didn't want to do it, but now I want to know.
Yeah, no, honestly, at that point, I'd just go for the AMD. To be fair, I'd probably get a better performing graphics card for cheaper.
They're hiding.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's stupid. It makes no sense from a graphics card. Like, it makes no sense, and it's pretty obvious why they're doing it. Let's be honest. Monos, please go and drop Jayztwocents a like. Go drop him a sub. I'm gonna go ahead and link the video on the Discord. Always make some phenomenal content. If you need anything at all about computers, Jayztwocents is there. Also, PC Jesus Gamers Nexus, who we're gonna react to next as well. But definitely go check out Jayztwocents. Those are like the two guys that I know. Like you don't even need, but there's plenty more that you should definitely go check out. But I'm just saying these two are like my go-tos, right? Just saying, all my whole life there's been my go-tos. Ayoo, Monodachis! Thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also find links to the videos that we reacted to today down in the description below, along with my Oshi marks. I'll see you in the next video, Monos. Goodbye, and thank you so much for swinging by. Salut!